The Legend of Jigong Chapter 15.
Picture the scene. It is gritty, it smells like iron and wet fur.
Oh, totally.
You are in a market in ancient China, and there's a butcher. His name is Dong Ping.
Right, and he's not some comic book villain in a cape.
No, exactly. He is just a working-class guy holding a knife, getting ready to slaughter a mother dog. And it is brutal.
It really is.
But right before the blade drops, this puppy crawls up onto the mother's neck and starts weeping.
Not barking.
Right, not barking, weeping, like a human.
It is a massive gut punch of an opening, and it sets the stakes immediately for Chapter 15 of Jigong Swan. We are not just reading a fable here, you know. We are looking at a very specific intersection of visceral empathy and cosmic law.
It is so intense. And look, we have covered Jigong before. The mad monk.
The guy who eats meat, drinks wine, and just generally trolls the religious establishment.
Yeah, well, actually being the most enlightened person in the room. But this feels different.
It does.
It starts with this butcher, Dong Ping, and it just spirals. We get crumbling walls. We get shrinking meat magic.
That's wild.
And eventually, it leads to this high-stakes financial deadline at the Lingyan Temple.
It is a crazy trajectory, but the core of this chapter, I mean, it is really about the mechanics of redemption.
Yeah.
It asks a question that frankly makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Is a reformed sinner actually more valuable to the universe than a lifelong saint?
That is the big one.
Yeah.
Because when Dong Ping sees that puppy crying, he does not just hesitate.
Right.
The text gives us his internal monologue, and it is surprisingly lucid for a guy who is mid-swing about to kill a dog.
He has an absolute epiphany.
He does. He thinks even a dog knows where it comes from, meaning it respects its mother. And then he hits himself with, I'm a human, how can I be less?
That is the turn. That is the exact moment. In the moral logic of this universe, he is identifying a hierarchy.
Like a cosmic order.
Exactly. If an animal has filial piety, what they call zhao, and a human does not, the human has degraded themselves below the animal. So Dong Ping is not just feeling sad. He is realizing he has violated the entire cosmic order.
So he drops the knife.
Immediately.
He releases the dogs. He literally opens the cages and says, go, if you stay, I will feed you. If you leave, you are free.
And then he goes straight to his mother.
Right, Han Shi.
Yeah.
He goes to her and just apologizes for being a terrible son. He vows to quit the blood basin business entirely.
Butchery was considered a heavily polluting profession.
Right, so he says he's going to sell fruit instead.
Which is a massive career pivot. But here's where we need to stop and look at the source material's theological framework, the Book of Goodness, or Shan Shu.
Oh man, this part.
Yeah, it introduces a scoring system here that is, well, controversial, is putting it lightly.
I read this part 3 times because I honestly thought I was misinterpreting it.
It is pretty shocking to modern readers.
It really is. The text says there is a rule. If you have been a good person your whole life, charity, kindness, the works, and you commit one evil act, you're recorded as the #1 bad person.
Yep. Your entire history of goodness is wiped.
That feels incredibly broken. You are telling me I can be a saint for 40 years, I have one bad day, maybe I kick a vending machine or say something mean, and suddenly I am worse than a career criminal.
The text is absolutely ruthless about that.
Where is the equity in that?
It feels unfair to us today, sure, but look at the flip side, which is the exact loophole that saves Dong Ping.
Okay, fight out.
The rule also states that if a person has been evil or steeped in sin their whole entire life, and they have one genuine bone-deep realization.
Like Dong Ping with the puppy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they turn toward goodness, they are recorded as the #1 filial son. All their past sins are erased.
So the system is basically rigged in favor of the comeback story.
It is not really about the comeback as a narrative arc. It is about the difficulty of the turn.
What do you mean?
Well, the logic is that for a good person to do evil, they have to actively betray their own established nature.
Oh, I see.
That is a fall. And it is unforgivable because they absolutely knew better. But for a bad person to do good,
they are fighting against the momentum.
Exactly. They have to fight against their habits, their livelihood, their history, their peers. That intense spiritual struggle is valued higher than just passive consistency.
Okay, so the universe grades on a curve based on difficulty. I could sort of buy that.
It is a very specific type of moral accounting.
So Dong Ping is now legally the #1 filial son, according to the Shan Shu. But the physical world has not gotten the memo yet.
Not at all.
He takes his last batch of meat out to the market to sell so he can fund his new fruit stand. and nobody is buying.
Karma is messy. It does not resolve instantly on the ground.
Right, so he is wandering the alleys, cannot make a single sale, and he ends up resting his heavy baskets against this shadow wall at the Yuhong Pavilion.
And this is where our main character finally enters the frame.
Jigong, our raggedy, wine-drinking monk. Now, he knows Dongping, right?
He does. Jigon has apparently scammed some free meat off him in the past.
Classic Jigong.
Classic. But this time, Jigong looks at Dongping and sees this black key hovering on his forehead.
We see this term black eye a lot in these sources. Is this visible to everyone, or is this special monk vision?
Oh, definitely monk vision. It is a diagnostic tool for the enlightened.
Like an aura.
Yeah, it is an omen of immediate calamity. Jigong realizes that despite Dongping's moral turnaround this morning, his fate schedule has not updated in the system yet.
The pigwork is lagging.
Exactly. There is a disaster locked and loaded. Jigong says to himself, if I do not save him, thunder will take him.
All right, let us drill down into this concept of thunder. Because when I hear thunder will take him, I just picture a lightning bolt coming down from the sky.
Zap. Done.
Right. But the source material gets surprisingly granular about what thunder actually means here. It is not just electricity.
Yeah, and this is a fascinating bit of Chinese folklore. The text references the 5 thunders.
Which correspond to the 5 elements, sir.
Correct. It is essentially a categorization of violent death.
So it is a menu of doom.
Pretty much. You have gold thunder, which refers to being killed by metal.
Like a sword or machinery.
Right. Then wood thunder is being beaten to death with clubs or crushed by a falling tree. Water thunder is drowning. Fire thunder is burning.
And the one coming for Dongping.
Earth thunder.
Which implies what? An earthquake?
Close. It refers to being crushed by something heavy and earthen. A mudslide, a collapsing building, or in this case,
A wall.
a wall. The thunder is not the sound in the sky. It is the sudden, violent release of energy from that specific element.
That is so cool. So Jigong sees this earth thunder hovering over this shadow wall. He knows the wall is about to drop on Dongping.
He has seconds to act.
Now, a normal hero runs up and says, hey man, move. That wall looks shaky.
Yeah.
But Jigong operates on chaos logic.
Well, think about human nature. If he says move, Dongping might say why, or let me just finish my rest, my feet hurt.
Yeah, people are stubborn.
Seconds matter here. Jigong needs to trigger an instinctual, thoughtless reaction. He needs Dongping to move right now without debating it.
So he robs him.
He grabs the basket of meat and sprints.
And it is so effective. Dongping is a butcher. He is protective of his inventory. He sees this dirty monk stealing his entire livelihood, and the adrenaline just kicks in.
He does not think. He chases him.
And the timing is cinematic. The text describes a heaven and earth cracking sound.
The exact moment Dongping vacates that spot, the shadow wall completely disintegrates.
If he had been polite and listened to a warning, he would be a pancake.
Exactly. The theft was the rescue. It is a perfect example of Jigong's methodology.
Breaking the rules to save a game.
He breaks a minor rule, stealing, to uphold the highest rule, saving a life. To any casual observer, he looks like a common thief. But to the universe, he is a savior.
Dongping realizes this pretty quickly, too. He looks back, sees the rubble, and connects the dots.
He knows he was spared.
He's like, that monk did not rob me. He saved me from the earth thunder. But Jigong is already miles ahead. He has taken this stolen meat to a busy street, and he is pulling a prank.
It is a prank, but it is also a social experiment. He starts selling the meat at a suspiciously low price.
And this is the part that cracked me up. He's chopping the meat, and the customers see these huge 1-pound slabs.
They are thinking, what a steal.
Right. They pay, they grab the meat, they walk away super smug.
But then glamour fades.
The magic wears off.
The source has this great line, meat is cheap, so the nose smells it. It is a direct commentary on greed.
The buyers are so blinded by the amazing deal that they do not look closely.
But once they get a few steps away, they look down, and that massive 1-pound slab has shrunk to 4 ounces.
It is the ancient equivalent of buying a flat-screen TV out of a van in an alley and opening the box to find a piece of plywood.
It totally is. One guy buys 4 pieces, thinking he is feeding his whole extended family for pennies.
Oh, man.
He walks 10 steps, checks his basket, and it is barely a snack, and he actually doubts his own sanity. He thinks, did I just see it wrong?
Why does Jigong do this, though? Is he just messing with people because he enjoys it?
I think it serves 2 really practical purposes. One, it punishes the greedy folks who are actively trying to take advantage of what they think is a stupid drunk monk.
Right, instant karma.
Two, it generates cash incredibly fast. He sells out immediately because the deal looks too good to pass up.
Oh, that makes sense. Because when Dongping finally catches up to him, totally breathless and grateful,
Jigong hands him the entire bag of money.
he capitalizes the guy's new business. He says, here, take this, go start your fruit stand.
It is a complete restorative cycle. Think about it. He saves the man's soul by triggering the turn toward filial piety.
Yeah.
He saves his physical body from the falling wall, and then he saves his economic future by funding the fruit business.
It is a masterclass in intervention. And then, in true drifter fashion, he just walks away.
His work there is done.
He heads to the Sioux Causeway on Westlake. And here, the vibe shifts completely.
It really slows down.
We go from this high-energy street scam scene to something incredibly pensive. Jigong is walking alone and he starts singing.
The Wild Song. This is a crucial interlude. If you skip the song, you miss the entire underlying philosophy of the chapter.
He is walking along one of the most famously beautiful spots in China, and he is singing about how none of it is real.
The lyrics are heavy.
They really are. He talks about the Nanki Dream. I actually had to look this up. It is a reference to a Tang Dynasty story, right? Where a guy falls asleep under a tree.
And dreams he lives an entire lifetime in a kingdom inside an anthill.
Yes, he becomes a governor, marries a princess, has kids, fights wars, grows old.
And then wakes up. And barely a few minutes have passed in the real world.
So the Nanki Dream is shorthand for the idea that human ambition is laughably small and temporary.
Exactly. Jigong sings, whether one is a scholar, a farmer, rich like Tao Zhu, or poor like Fan Danaday, it is all an Anki dream.
And then he drops this line, parents, wives, and children are just companions in the dream.
That line hits so hard, especially after we just spent all this time watching Dongping reconnecting with his mother.
It seems completely contradictory.
It does.
Jigong just went to incredible lengths to save a man's life and help him honor his mother. And now he is singing that family is just an illusion. Which is it? Does life matter? Or is it just an anthill?
I think that tension is the whole point. Jigong operates inside the dream. He saves people, he plays the game, he helps the butcher, but he is completely lucid.
A lucid dreamer.
Yes, he knows it is a dream. He helps Dongping play his role as a filial son better, even while knowing that ultimately all these human roles are temporary constructs.
It is the difference between being a character lost in a play and being the actor who knows the curtain will eventually fall.
That is a perfect way to frame it.
That is a lot of existential dread to process while walking down a causeway. But Jigong does not get to stay in philosopher mode for long.
Now, reality interrupts.
Jigong is coming back from Filial Peak. He's happy, he's singing, he's got his dog meat.
As one does.
Naturally. And he walks right up to the mountain gate of Lingyan Temple. Now, I want to be really clear out the scale here for everyone listening. Lingyan isn't just some tiny roadside shrine.
Oh, no, it's huge.
Right, it's a mega institution.
It's a massive center of power and prestige in the region. And standing right at the gate are the enforcers. These two monks named Jingming and Jingen.
Kind of like the temple bouncers?
That's exactly what they are. Their whole job is to keep the brand of the temple pure.
And bouncers are observant. They clock the meat immediately.
Instantly. And they are completely scandalized by it. You really have to understand, the prohibition against meat in a place like this, it isn't just a dietary preference or a health thing.
Right.
It is the foundational rule of the space. So they stop him and just lay down the law. They tell him this is a place of long-term vegetarianism.
And they list off this whole menu of banned items. Meat, wine. But there was actually detail in the text that surprised me.
What was that?
They specifically mentioned that you cannot bring in bird cages.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, carrying cages and bird stands. Why bird cages? That seems so incredibly specific.
It is specific, but it ties directly into the philosophy of liberation.
Okay.
So a Buddhist temple is fundamentally a place dedicated to releasing suffering.
Right, releasing attachments.
Exactly. So if you walk in holding a bird trapped in a cage, you are literally carrying a prison into a place of freedom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's an insult to the very spiritual architecture of the temple.
That makes a lot of sense. So if a caged bird is bad, a hunk of dead dog is definitely worse.
Oh, infinitely worse. The text actually has them call it white bones reaching to the sky.
That is visceral.
It really is. They are horrified. They tell him point blank, "You have broken the precepts, throw it away."
This is where Jigong does something that I think perfectly defines his
Oh,
character.
absolutely.
Because he doesn't argue theology with them. He doesn't apologize or try to hide it.
Nope.
He just starts scratching himself furiously.
Yes, it's the scabies defense.
He's just standing there scratching his armpits, and he says something like, I don't know about that. My body is itchy. The scabies are acting up again.
It's so good.
I had to read that part twice. Why is he suddenly pivoting to a skin condition?
Okay, so this is a linguistic pun that is absolutely brilliant in the original context, so we really have to unpack it.
You do?
The gatekeepers are accusing him of violating the precepts. The word for precept or rule is G,
Okay.
but the word for scabies, or like a skin rash, is also G.
Oh, I see. So they scream, you broke the rules, and he pretends to hear, you have a rash.
Exactly. They yell, fan G, which means violated precepts, and he replies, G, you fan Lee, meaning the scabies have flared up.
That is hilarious. He is deliberately lowering the entire conversation.
He is. They want to talk about these high, lofty moral laws, and he forces them to talk about his personal hygiene.
It's a total power move. He is just flat out refusing to engage with their authority on their terms.
And it drives the gatekeeper, Jingming, absolutely crazy. He completely snaps.
I bet.
He says, I am not talking about the bugs on your skin. I'm talking about the pure rules of the monkhood.
Right.
And then just to prove he's the better, more educated monk, Jingming launches into this massive lecture.
It felt very rehearsed to me, like he's just reading straight from the employee handbook.
It is entirely rehearsed. He lists out the hierarchy. He starts with the 3 rules, which are the Buddha's rules, the state's laws, and the monastic rules. And then he goes into the 5 precepts.
And Jigong actually asks him to list them, right? He's just playing dumb again.
Yes, he says, remind me, what are these rules?
Poking the bear.
Exactly. So Jingming recites them. No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no alcohol.
The classics.
The classics. And he finishes this whole lecture with a threat.
What does he say?
He tells Jigong, if you bring that meat inside, it's not just you who gets in trouble. We get charged with failure to inspect. Even the supervisor gets in trouble.
And there it is. The bureaucratic fear. They aren't actually worried that Jigong is going to hell or damaging his karma.
Not at all.
They're just worried about their own performance review.
Precisely. They're just trying to protect their jobs.
And Jigong just brushes it aside.
Yeah.
He says, you two don't understand anything. Don't block my happiness.
Such a great line.
And then he drops a bomb on him. He says, I'm bringing this dog meat for the supervisor to eat.
Which is just a ridiculous claim. The supervisor is the head of discipline for the whole temple.
But it works. The gatekeepers actually let him through.
It works because it completely confuses them. And if you think about any rigid bureaucracy, if you are confused, what's the safest thing to do?
Pass the buck.
Exactly, pass the buck. They figure if he says it's for the boss, let the boss deal with it. We wash our hands of this entire situation.
So the fox is in the henhouse. Or rather, the dog meat is in the temple.
Right.
Jigong just strolls right into the Great Hall, the Mahavira Hall, which is the main ceremonial space. And he doesn't try to hide the meat. She puts it down on the floor and starts yelling, who wants to buy some meat?
Inside the main sanctuary, it is total desecration.
Yeah.
The source text describes the other monks' reactions here, and it really highlights the divide in the temple.
How so?
Well, you have the good-hearted monks who are terrified for him. They're whispering, stop it, you're going to get flogged. And then you have the monks who hate him, and they're just standing back thinking, good. Let him dig his own grave. We finally have him.
And then the boss arrives. The supervisor, Guanglian.
The main antagonist of this chapter.
Now, based on that whole lecture we just heard at the gate, no meat, pure rules, holy ground glosion there, I fully expected Guangliang to have a stroke when he saw the dog meat on the floor.
You would absolutely expect that. He is the chief administrator. He is the guy who is personally responsible for enforcing all those rules Jingming was just reciting.
Right.
But this is where the story pivots hard. Guangliang walks over, he sees the meat, he sees the utter chaos, and he says, I don't care.
I don't care if you killed 2 dogs. That is a direct quote from the text. Actually, I had to pause my reading there.
It's jarring.
How can the supervisor of the temple say that?
It is shocking, and it completely invalidates everything the gatekeepers were just preaching about. The gatekeepers were obsessed with ritual purity. But the supervisor operates on a completely different metric. He entirely ignores the spiritual violation and just asks, what time is it?
He's checking the clock. Why?
Because of the debt. And this is really the key to understanding the satire here. The Great Stella Pavilion had burned down some time ago.
Oh, wait.
And Jigong, probably as a punishment or maybe a test of his abilities, was assigned the job of fundraising the money to rebuild it.
And the price tag isn't small.
10,000 silver taels.
Wow.
In the Song dynasty, that is an absolute fortune. It is an impossible sum for a ragged, street-wandering monk to collect.
And the deadline is today.
Today at noon.
So Guangliang looks at the dog meat, looks at the broken rules, and basically says, I don't care about your spiritual sins. I only care about the financial contract.
Exactly. Show me the money. It reveals that for the upper management of the temple, the precepts are completely secondary to the bottom line. It exposes the corruption in an instant.
And Qigong, he's just sitting there with a dog leg in one hand and empty pockets in the other. How does he even respond to that?
He just teases him. He says, well, I don't have 10,000. I have maybe 9,000.
Which feels like a blatant lie.
Wow, it's definitely a stall tactic. And Guangliang explodes. He is ready to drag Jigong to the old abbot to be punished and likely expelled right then and there.
But Qigong pulls a technicality card. He points out the time.
Yes.
He says it's not noon yet.
Right. He says, we are still one shenshen short of noon. Now, a shichen is a 2-hour block in traditional Chinese timekeeping.
Okay.
So he effectively says, I have 1 hour left on the clock. You cannot arrest me yet.
That is bold. Give me an hour and I'll conjure a fortune.
And the crazy thing is, Guangliang agrees.
Really?
But purely out of spite. He wants to see Jigong fail completely and publicly. So they enter this tense standoff. The supervisor is just tapping his foot, watching the sun. And Jigong as well, just being Jigong.
And this is the exact moment where the story shifts from like a workplace comedy into something much stranger.
Very strange.
The gatekeepers, Jingming and Jingyan, they come rushing back into the hall, and they are panicked.
They don't just rush in. The text says they physically grab the supervisor.
Oh, wow.
You do not grab your boss in a strict formal hierarchy like this unless the building is actively burning down.
Right. So they shout, Master Guang, something weird is happening outside. What exactly did they see?
It's basically an invasion. They report that this massive crowd, 200 or 300 people, is coming up the main road from Westlake.
That is not a standard tour group. That's a mob.
But it's a very high-class mob. The text specifically notes gentry and merchants, officials, servants carrying umbrellas. And leading them are 2 very specific figures on horseback. One has a white face and a long beard, very dignified looking.
Okay.
The other looks strange and ancient. The term is Kinki Gugai.
And they roll right up to the gate. And they don't want to tour the grounds. They ask one question. Is the living Buddha in the temple?
No, we need to pause on that specific term, living Buddha, huofo. They aren't asking for the abbot. They aren't asking for a priest or an administrator.
What's the difference to them?
A living Buddha implies a deity in human form, a miracle worker, someone who has completely transcended the mortal coil.
Wow.
It suggests these wealthy people are desperate for something that money and bureaucracy just cannot buy.
And the gatekeepers, I mean, talk about entirely missing the point. They just go straight into customer service mode.
They really do. They say, no, we don't have a living Buddha, but we do have the Hall of Arhats with 508 gold-plated statues. Which one would you like to burn incense to?
It's like going to a hospital screaming for a doctor because you're actively dying and the receptionist says, we don't have doctors, but we have some really lovely oil paintings of doctors in the hallway.
That is a perfect comparison. The gatekeepers are offering the symbol, the clay statue, but the visitors want the reality, the living person.
Right.
The visitors literally say, we aren't here to worship clay. We want the living Arhat.
And when the gatekeepers say we don't have one, the wealthy visitors do the one thing that terrifies the temple staff more than anything else. They turn around to leave.
They say, fate is not aligned. Let's go somewhere else to give our money.
Give our money. The magic words.
The gatekeepers instantly panic. They know the temple desperately needs money. Remember the 10,000 tael debt hanging over everyone's head right now?
Yes, the clock is ticking on that.
Exactly. They cannot let these whales just swim away, so they stop them and ask, wait, who specifically are you looking for? What is his name?
And this leads us to the absolute most bizarre, superstitious, and frankly hilarious part of the whole story.
It really is.
The visitors say they cannot speak the name casually.
They claim that the name is so holy, so heavy with karmic weight, that if a mortal speaks it out loud, it costs them 10 years of their lifespan, their yang shou.
10 years just to utter a name once. That seems a bit steep.
That is the belief. It elevates this living Buddha to this terrifying cosmic level of power.
So naturally, you would expect the gatekeepers to say, okay, never mind then. I would like to keep my decade of life. Thanks so much. Have a nice trip.
You would think so.
But they don't. They start doing math.
I call this the gatekeeper calculus.
It's amazing.
Jingming actually stops to calculate his own mortality right there at the front gate.
Right.
He says, okay, a fortune teller looked at my stars, my Bazizi, and he predicted I would live to be 53.
Okay, so 53 is the hard cap.
Right. He says, I am currently 22 years old. So 53 minus 22, he has 31 years left in the bank.
And the visitors tell him, there are two of us asking. If we both ask and you answer both of us, that is a 30-year penalty.
So Jingming runs the numbers again. 31 years remaining, minus a 30-year penalty equals 1 year left.
Wait, he literally looks at his colleague and says, sooner or later I'll die next year. He's just resigned to it.
He fully accepts it. It is absurdly transactional. He is treating his literal life force like it's just spare change in his pocket. Yeah, I can afford that. He decides to sacrifice 95% of his remaining time on Earth just to secure a donation for the temple.
It is super dark comedy, but it's also kind of tragic when you think about it.
It is.
It shows how completely warped his priorities are. He values the temple's income and avoiding a bad performance review from his boss more than his own existence.
Yes.
He tells them, go ahead, I'll take the hit. Just don't ask for anything else because I'm fresh out of years.
And the supervisor, Guangliang, is standing there watching this entire report unfold.
Right, because they've run back to tell him this.
Exactly. Now remember, Guangliang is supposed to be the bad guy, but he is also the boss. A good leader would step in right here and say, stop. Do not throw your life away for superstition. This is total insanity.
But Guangliang needs those 10,000 taels to rebuild the pavilion.
Desperately, he sees the money walking out the door. So instead of stopping them, he jumps in on the deal. He says, don't worry, you two speak. I will chip in and lose 10 years of my own lifespan to cover the difference.
It is absolute madness. You have the entire senior administration of the temple, the gatekeepers and the director standing in a circle, haggling over decades of their lives like they're just splitting a dinner bill.
I'll take 10, you take 20.
Exactly. And for what? To get the name of a man they probably already know?
Right, because we, the audience, know exactly who the living Buddha is.
It has to be Jigong.
The irony is just suffocating. The man they were just trying to kick out for holding dog meat is the exact same man they are now literally willing to die to identify.
And the scene ends on this massive cliffhanger.
Yep.
Jingming is standing there, unhurried and not flustered, ready to speak the name and accept his death at age 23.
Yep.
The supervisor is ready to lose his decade. The crowd is waiting.